I'll be honest with you, I was literally rock bottom. I had nothing left. I quit my job, went to Ghana for Christmas, came back. I got letters from my letterbox. Everyone wants their money. I was driving a 1 Series. They towed it away. I don't even know who towed it away. Do you know what I'm saying? So it vanished. And I was just there. I had no money. I'm 27. Have my peers getting married, going abroad, and I'm just thinking, because of film, I'm suffering like this. Like, what is this? And it got to the point where I was kind of like, well, I'm not going to quit film. So what am I going to do?
Hi and welcome to In Conversation With. Today we have the amazingly talented director, producer, writer, exec producer, Koby Adom.
Oh, thanks.
Director of Mallory Blackman's Noughts Crosses, Top Boy, and so many other stuff. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. So, I want to get right into it.
Let's do
really delve deep into it.
Stuck in.
So it's been a while since you've been here, because you came, we had a conversation about the last time you came. It was over before COVID.
Yes.
And we did like a nice little creative roundtable, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And it was with some up and coming directors, writers, creatives, and you just passed on some amazing knowledge. On my LinkedIn, there's the strap at the top. Is that picture of you looking like this while I'm talking?
I remember. So it makes it seem like it says some genius things.
I probably would say the most amount of crap, but it looks good.
It was probably genius things because I got a short attention span. So.
You lived locked in, which works for me.
Exactly.
But back then, I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel like you were still kind of at the early stages of your breakthrough, right? And from that point to now, so much has changed.
I mean, at that time, was it 2019?
I think so.
So that was after Noughts Crosses?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I think that was just after the first.
The first Noughts Crosses.
Exactly, yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So what's that process been like for you from 2019 to now, 2024?
It's been a realization moment, if you want to call it that, from then till now, actually. I think it's that, you've done the first hurdle, the first big thing, I guess, in inverted commas. I don't believe in big things, but the first big things to everybody else. Yeah. And you sort of step into this world, and I'm someone who always expects the best anyway, but once I've stepped in, I expected even more of the best. But what I didn't know was the roller coaster and the hustle and bustle that period comes with. It's kind of like, I thought I'd just be on a conveyor belt, cruising into the sunset, become a billionaire and settle down in Ghana, like my wildest dreams. But no, it's been a struggle, man. It's been a struggle in so many different departments and in so many different ways. But I think upon self-reflection, the struggle doesn't really make a difference to your progress, as long as you're on the right side of your mindset. Do you get what I'm saying? So you kind of have to rely on your mindset at any given moment and focus on doing your best case by case, and then the rest will do itself. Because when I look back since then, I've directed 2 episodes of Top Boy. I've directed another 4 episodes of Noughts Crosses season 2, which was all me. In that time, I also executive produced 5 short films, which was funded by Sky Studios. They gave my company, DBK Studios, 125 grand to find the next best black talent as a response to Black Lives Matter.
Interesting that I didn't get that phone call.
Yeah. No, next time. But you know what it is? I think it was just sort of like, it was a time where, like I said, I've always been ambitious. I always aim for the best. And not all my aims land, but the ones that do, the 2% that God blesses you with, literally makes a massive impact, if you know what I mean. So I think since then now, but like I said, I'd only directed, well not only, but I directed 3 episodes of Noughts Crosses. But since then, I've directed on 3 more seasons of TV, and I've produced or executive produced, which is commissioning, financing, developing talent, all of that kind of stuff. And I've got so many more contacts, and I do a lot more speaking. Like I do a lot more giving back as a result. So that's the difference. I think then I just sort of stepped in, but now I feel like when I first stepped in, I don't know if I really knew what I was here to do. But even though it's the same now, it's 20 times bigger. Does that make sense? I've been able to see so much more to know what's possible. And I think that always
comfortable in your space.
Exactly. Comfortable, for lack of better word.
More comfortable.
Yes. More comfortable,
Because it is that constant readjustment, isn't it?
Sure.
But I feel because now I don't know if that's the same experience for you, but I guess because you've had that so much experience and you've actually shown the world what you can do, you're no longer kind of weirdly apologizing for being in that space. It's like, I'm here.
Sure.
Obviously, there's further to go, but I'm here.
But I think that's a choice, because there's a lot of people who apologize their whole life.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because the bar keeps rising at the end of the day, and you know, you're always, if you leave it to others, you'll be made to feel like you should be asking for permission. Yeah. But actually, someone who's just starting out now doesn't have to ask for permission. They just have to believe in themselves, but also show good values and morals in order to get to their goal. But asking for permission isn't part of that.
It's actually really interesting to hear you say there was struggle from 2019 until now, because as an outsider sort of perspective, it looks like your trajectory is getting wild, right? And that's something I'm going to touch on a bit later about that process, because there's so much that you don't see. Not being in that process yourself, just looking in and seeing the glitz side of it, apart from what's happening below the surface. One thing I've always found fascinating about creatives who kind of push on and actually create some amazing stuff and actually develop in their career instead of staying sort of stagnant in that space is the process.
Correct.
Because even sort of what you touched on in terms of that struggle that happened for you, it's like, that to me is the most interesting part, because that's the reality. That's what all of us have to go through, right? To actually get to whatever our destination is, which is always shifting. Yours started on a really kind of personal note with your first short film. Was it Deborah's Story? Yeah,
Deborah's Letter.
Deborah's Letter, which I got a chance to see at your birthday sort of event, which was amazing. How was that process in terms of making that decision that this is going to be the first thing that I kind of really dedicate my time to actually sort of developing into a short film that I want to put out there?
That being Deborah's Letter? Yeah. Well, actually, it's a bit easier because it was a film school term course. Like, it was part of what I had to do. Yeah. Put it that way. So, but I think that was the first time I directed, because nobody else wanted to do it. For the start, everyone wanted to go for the high flying shorts with the 16, 35mm films and stuff. So when it came to doc, everyone kind of switched off. But that was a good opportunity for me to, you know, because it's quite competitive. So like in that time, it's not as competitive. So yeah, I pitched the story that was closest to me, and you know, for me, that film was the best way to start. Why? Because it's a story you know inside out. So because you know the story inside out, it's about my little sister. For those who don't know, you can use relatable material to learn the craft. So when a tutor comes up to you and says, "Look, I know you know this world, but in terms of communicating, which is what films are, do you know what I'm saying to you? In terms of communicating to an audience, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. This is what I'm most interested by, and this is." So it's like learning that with storyline so close to your soul. It's kind of like, wow, well, I can't forget this. So it's like when you start to work on other things which aren't as close to your spirit, very easy to cut things out. Like you're not gonna be as precious with shots, or as precious with edits, or as precious with individual things within the wider landscape. If you know what I mean. So I think that's just the best way for me to start, because since then I think that's helped me out in my storytelling process. Like, I'm very frugal to myself, let alone other people. Do you get what I'm saying to you? It's kind of like, it's less is more. So it's like, once we're able to get all of this in TV, you can shoot about 10 hours worth of footage for one episode and end up with an hour. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So you can only imagine the kind of things you have to let go in order to get that final piece. However, it doesn't mean you shouldn't capture the 10 hours, because the 10 hours is the exploration, is the world. Do you know what I'm saying to you? And then you just sort of carve out this narrative within that world, which is jam-packed with the rest, so everyone kind of gets everything from this. So I think that's kind of like the trick, and I learned that very early on in Deborah's Letter.
The thing with that is that, because like you said, it's a really personal story to you, a lot of people shy away from that, and especially in film school, tend to go for all the sort of performative, it's just like beautiful shots and stuff like that, like go, you know, sort of the scenery kind of, I don't know, coming of age kind of stories, whereas you kind of went kind of raw and actually went, like you said, brought it home in terms of that story. Like, Was that a difficult decision to make in terms of what story you wanted to go for first, or was that just like a natural kind of
easy decision? Like my little sister's life is a big testimony in my life. Like it's one of my biggest driving forces. It's one of the reasons why I'm so confident and why I'm so ambitious. So yeah, no, it wasn't hard. But I just guess, look, I think the best people in the sport are those people who stick to the internal. I think unfortunately, when you stick to your internal, that's all the gold is. That's all the treasure is. But then once you put it out, then everybody sees the success of it. But that's what they see. So then they start making decisions based on what they can see, and that's when you start to get sort of like surface level, artificial storytelling, right? But the reality of the matter is, my advice to anybody is, doesn't matter what level, and again in inverted commas, or position in life or the sport you think you're in, you'll never go wrong with starting within. You'll never go wrong. You always just a line of truth. Don't try and make stuff that you think other people want to see. Make the stuff that you want to see, because guess what? There's billions of people exactly like you.
And there will always be an audience, right?
Facts.
It doesn't mean that your audience is going to be the biggest or anything, but there's always going to be someone that connects with that story.
Yeah, and you don't want to be a follower, you want to be a leader. At the end of the day, like, you know, everyone that follows ends up going off a cliff. You know what I'm saying to you, actually, funny enough. But, you know, once you're able to connect to your insides,
or you're a Muslim, or you have faith, or you're an atheist, or whatever you sort of identify. I think having that inside sort of foundation and grounding is super important anyway.
Of course.
Because it's that self-belief. It's something greater than other people's opinions. And understanding your purpose and why you're doing something. And I think that supersedes everything else.
But I think in order for your insides to have that resource, there needs to be something above you. Like you can't be your own God, because if you are, you won't be able to challenge some of the things you see inside. Because look, when you go inside, it's not all bells and whistles. It's not all roses. And I think that if you're not able to acknowledge the things inside which aren't as shiny, then you're kind of not doing the job. Do you get what I'm saying to you? It's not about going inside to get the good stuff. It's about going inside and pouring it out as is.
An exceptional part of it.
Thank you very much. And I think that actually that's not, the majority of people can't do that.
It's scary.
It's extremely scary. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think that it takes that courage though, do you know what I'm saying to you, to be able to go to your insides and put it out, you know, and then a conversation can be had about it. Then somebody else can learn from your insides. And do you get what I mean? So look, for me, the way I see it is that, you know, I'm someone who, you know, I don't submit to myself. I submit to Jesus Christ and his ministry, and everything about his ministry is the deciding factor of all my decisions, creatively, business-wise, personally, you name it. So I think that because that's already my mindset, creating is not, I don't have to go through that process. You know, I'm already there, if you know what I mean. I can't create any other way. You know, that's the way I am.
Okay. Well, fast forwarding now to your breakout short film, Haircut. I checked on IMDb. It's currently rated 8.2.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I didn't even check those things.
I did. It was nice. I was like, okay, cool. This must be really good. It's really good. I watched it. So. Can you give us just a little summary of what that story was about, and sort of like your feelings once you realised that this short film was the game changer?
Again, look, we're gonna go back to the inside of yourself and outside thing. My process of making Haircut was very internal. I remember this is 2017, right? Well, I finished film school at the beginning of that year in January / the end of 2016 in December. And this is me leaving film school and trying to figure it out. And I just remember not having a clue what I'm doing, whether I'm stepping left or right, being my ambitious self, saying, right, I'm making a feature, you know, sort of film school, and then So that feature just kept, again, why did I choose to make a feature? Because externally, that's what it seemed like you should do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you've seen other people make features and it works out for them. So what did I do? I was making external decisions until that's the year that I found Christ the way I know him today. Actually, that's when I really got a relationship with Christ, because that's all I had left. You know, literally my life was going down the toilet on paper. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But I kind of had this time to spend with God. So from the beginning of 2017, January to about summertime, well, I'd say August, so 8 months in, I decided, look, I'm not going to keep not working, because that's what I said, I'm not getting another job. I had a full-time job while I was at film school. I said, I'm not doing it, I'm going for gold. I had to get another job, and I was working at Westminster Magistrates Court, part-time. But I was fasting, and I remember walking home while I was fasting, and I was really in love with God at these times, and we're best friends. And I'm talking to God on the way home from work, and I'm praying, because I hated that job all of my life. And I was like, God, like, look, if I'm supposed to be in this job for whatever reason, just take this feeling of contempt away from me, contempt away from me, like this feeling of hatred for the job away, or just take me away from the place. Like, you know, there's only two options. So what's the point of me being there and suffering? Do you know what I'm saying? And literally a voice in my own head, internal, said to me, oh, but you're trying to make this feature film, but Joe Guerrero, who produced Haircut, said, just write another short film. So I had to let down my pride and said, all right then, because this is me speaking to God now. Okay, God, what short film should I make then? And he goes, oh, also, didn't you meet Ashley Waters in Jan? And he said, write a short film and he'll act in it. So then the urgency came. I was like, oh my God, he did say that, didn't he? I said, but what should I write about? What should I write about? Another voice in my head. Oh, but you met Tim Bevan when you was at film school. That's the CEO of Working Title Films. I guessed his email address. Yeah, and I've had a 30-minute meeting with him. He goes, look, write a story only you can write. That's what he said. Write a story only you can write, because it happened to you or happened to your brother, your mother, whatever, but it's a close story to you. Write the story only you can write from that unique perspective. Make people happy, laugh, cry, sad, take them on a roller coaster of emotions, and you'll be successful. I was like, oh, yeah, Tim Bevan did say that, didn't he? Like, but, okay, so what's that for me? He goes, oh, Tim Bevan also said, write the film of the story you can't forget, like the one that keeps going over and over and over and over and over in your head. Do you get what I'm saying? The one that you can't stop thinking about. And this is all on one walk, you know, from the train station to my sister's, house where I was staying at the time. And I said, oh, what's that? And I remember I was in the barber shop with my barbers, and then one guy came in and he had a tag on his ankle, and then he was like, where's my bag? Like, where's my bag? Where's my bag? Right. And my barber, you know, kind of like, he's not here, you know, get out of the shop, just a little spat, nothing big. But I remember thinking, because I'm a deep thinker, I'm like, oh, what's wrong with the guy? I wonder what he's going through. He's got a tag on his ankle, he must be so desperate, boom, boom. But I've never stopped thinking about that. So actually, I went home that night and I wrote the first draft of Haircut that night.
Wow.
After all that conversation in my head, it wasn't because of anything external. It was all fasting, speaking to God, drawing on my previous experiences. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And things people have said to me, bringing those voices back. And then I read the first draft of Haircut that night. And this was, I would say, the end of August, start of September. Come Feb the following year, I was shooting it. Come May that year, my whole life changed on its head. Literally, like, everybody got an agent. Everybody's interested now. Everyone's calling me for TV shows and da-da-da. But guess what? All of that came from my insides.
And that's crazy, because like, my next question was actually going to be talking about when you got to that stage of the guys from Top Boy, Mary Blackman for Noughts Crosses, that's a BBC One, come knocking for you, and how that feels, because I know you put in a lot of work, consistency, obviously talent, but you've touched on it quite a bit about that actual deep driver, which is your faith.
Correct.
And it gives you that greater purpose.
Yes.
So you've touched on it actually a lot. So it'd be actually interesting, because you said something about that moment where you sort of like renewed your relationship with Jesus. Like, are you comfortable with talking about what sort of precipitated that? Like, what caused that? Because obviously
I was rock bottom, bro. I was rock bottom. I'll be honest with you. I was literally rock bottom. I had nothing left. Like, I quit my job, went to Ghana for Christmas, came back. I got letters from my letterbox. Everyone wants their money. I was driving a 1 Series. They towed it away. I don't even know who towed it away. Do you know what I'm saying? So it vanished. And, you know, I was just there. I had no money. I'm 27. Have my peers getting married, going abroad, and I'm just thinking, oh, because of film, I'm suffering like this. Like, what is this? And you know, got to the point where I was kind of like, well, I'm not going to quit film, so what am I going to do? Let me go back to my Father in heaven. Let me go back to that relationship that I know I'm supposed to, you know, hone. Like this being I've been ignoring, even though I know he's the reason why I'm here. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Let me go back to him. And I went back to my Bible. Started reading, I read my Bible every day, started praying. I wasn't even going to church at this point. I was literally just building that personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy, do you know what I mean? Because my flesh and my person wanted to enjoy myself. Like I wanted to go outside and have the money and be with my friends. But you know what? That time of sacrifice, and that's another thing about being able to tap into your insides. It requires isolation, like momentary isolation. I don't think anyone should live in isolation, but it requires isolation away from the noise, away from distraction, away from people's opinions, away from everything else happening external. Right? You have to actually cut yourself off from external momentarily for your insides to have a voice. Otherwise, you can't hear your insides. Like whatever you think is in your head, you don't know because you watch so much TV, you listen to so many people. So what happens is you can't now decipher what's your voice and somebody else's. So sometimes you literally need to take yourself away from the masses, take yourself away from the noise, stop taking advice sometimes and ask yourself, what's actually within me? Be at one with that and know the answer to that, then you can go and start asking for advice. But at least then you've got a voice.
Exactly.
Right? Then you've got a map.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Then you're heading somewhere, because if you're not heading anywhere and then you walk into the wilderness, you practically live there now. And in the wilderness there's bears, there's lions, there's insects that can kill, there's all sorts of things designed to kill you. And you don't have a direction, that means you're literally going to die. Do you get what I'm saying? And God knows that, you know, look, anyway, so the point that I'm making is by that time in 2017 where I practically had nothing or nobody, because I was isolated. You know, I had maybe 2-3 people I spoke to every day. Apart from that, I mean, I've heard all these people on Instagram that just don't care. Like, you're not doing anything cool, so why should they care? You know what I'm saying? And so that time was the game changer for me. Someone might look at his haircut and What I understand as the game changer, as the turning point, was that time with God. 2017, the year of the Lord. That was it. That was the turning point for me.
So that gave you your driver that actually spurred you on to that point.
Fact. And the funniest thing is, while I was making haircut, I was broke. I didn't have a penny to my name. So it's not like click of a finger, all of a sudden everything happened. After I had my encounter with God and I came close to God and I knew, okay, cool, it's go time. It was still hard. I was still broke. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Still felt the same as before, until you realize that actually I was pouring all of this internal goodness into one bit of an external product. Then everybody sees the external and then they're gagging through. Come on, like it speaks for itself. You know, I didn't create that externally, I created that internally, but then everybody only sees the external. Do you get what I mean? And I think that is a classic lesson for anyone starting out. Like, your best resources is within you, it's not external. If you're trying to align with the best people and you're trying to, you know, go around people who you think can change your life, they cannot. Do you know what I'm saying to you? The reality of the matter is you're going to end up in the wilderness. And in the wilderness, there's a lot of people that will use you, abuse you, dash you to the side, confuse you, all of that. Tap into yourself. That's the best resource you have, man.
No, I agree, because to your point, like if you didn't have that moment of isolation and introspection to listen to the voices within, it wouldn't have happened.
Do you want to know something interesting? This is how you know you're a special man, actually, because I'm in that moment now, right? After everything I've achieved, since Dream Miles Black, which is the last TV show I shot, that was the end of 2022. 2023, start of 2024, no one sees me anywhere. You don't see me at no parties. Do you know what I'm saying? So you don't see me nowhere. Like, the fact of the matter is, I'm at home, I'm reading my Bible. Do you get what I mean? I'm talking to the people I want to talk to. It's a very curated list. My phone's on Do Not Disturb from morning till night. Like, that's the reality.
That's a fantasy.
It's mate. Do you know, I just have to. And I think that now, from another moment of isolation, the next phase of my plan has come to light within me. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So watch this space, man. You're going to see the external result of that very soon.
I'm really excited because, like I said, I'm not joking when I said I really appreciate you giving me your time.
Oh, come on, every time, man.
No, it's for real.
I love what you're doing.
Because you don't have to, right? Because you've got to a stage in your career where you could be that person where it's like just insulin, you're thinking about what drives me forward. Whereas I love that element of you kind of reaching back and sort of like being open to speak about your experience. You've done that stuff and you're doing that now. That's why I have that level of respect, because it's genuine.
I appreciate that. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you.
But talking about that, which I think is a kind of connection to your journey, DBK Studios you touched on.
Yes.
Like, what does DBK stand for?
Sure.
Like, what was the purpose behind sort of creating that studio?
DBK stands for Done by the King being God, being Jesus Christ. And it stands for that because everything that comes through that company will be done by the King. And also, as a Christian, I believe in accountability. So it's like, I'm not here to just teach people, hey, come and be a Christian. Actually, I'm here to spread the word of God.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing it down anyone's throat. I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Like, look, for example, there's all kinds of stuff that's put into media these days. Do you know what I'm saying to you? But it's not forced down my throat. Do you know? I still have the option of pressing it on Netflix or not. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's about telling stories, relatable stories, but also challenging myself as a Christian and other Christians. Yeah. Because Christians should be able to talk about any topic under the sun. 100%. God is never absent. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And if you're in the Word enough, right, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to tell these really authentic, bold stories. Do you get what I'm saying? And spark conversations. The thing about conversations is you're not always going to enjoy everything said. But that's not the point. You're not supposed to enjoy what's being said. You're not supposed to be lauded. Do you get what I'm saying to you? The job isn't for, self-adoration. Do you get what I'm saying to you? The job is for you to highlight topics which need to be discussed and do so in a way that will actually affect people. Yeah. Negatively, positively, doesn't really matter. As long as the insides have shifted and have taken notice of this, you've done your job.
It's evolution and growth, isn't it?
Exactly that. And you've just shared to them something new they didn't know, and for them to have an opinion in the first place. Yeah. So,
Cool. Well, got a few more questions for you. If you could give any bit of advice to a filmmaker or creative, sort of like starting out, no trust fund, no connections in the industry, sort of like, we were talking about Johnny in terms of starting his career on YouTube and building his own audience before the channels came knocking, what would that be?
Believe in yourself, man. Use the resources on your table now. Like, don't live in an idealistic way. Like, don't imagine what would be better, because what you need for your progress right now is in front of your face. And if you do not use those resources, don't expect more. Do you get what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you be trusted with more when you haven't made use of what's in front of you? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, start creating from today. If you create and everyone says it's garbage, so be it. Do you get what I've like I said, I think my last short film's garbage. Do you get what I mean? And I'm 6 years deep professionally. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And I think that if you're able to remove the external gaze and the external validation from your process, you're flying. Yeah. You're absolutely flying, and eventually it's going to show in your work. Yeah. So my thing to you is, I'm not saying anyone should isolate themselves from everybody. I'm saying use the resources you've got, and some of those resources are people. True. Do you get what I mean? If you're able to learn how to, the world is all about sales. People think sales is this thing that people in suits do. We're all salesmen. Do you know what I mean? If you're making a film, you have to sell the film to an audience. Do you get, why should they watch it? You have to sell it to them. So it's like, learn sales, right? Sales, you can sell. I could sell your laptop back to you right now if I know how to sell. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, once you're able to learn how to sell, what's going to happen is, it's going to be infused in your work. You're going to understand the value of using the resources you have now, and you're going to get a result. And then that result is new resources to continue to do that process again and again and again until your resources becomes millions of pounds. Yeah. You can actually create that. And also, another thing I'd say is, don't focus on money. If you do this thinking, I need to pay my bills, you're in the wrong sport. Go get a job. True. Like, don't chase your dreams and start complaining that you can't pay your bills. Like, those are two different approaches. You either get a job and be comfortable, or you take the risk and be uncomfortable and just shut up. You know what I'm saying to you? No one cares. No one's coming to save you. You chose to make films. No one forced you to make films. Right? Don't make that anyone else's business. Some people are going to be ready to help. Take the help. Be, show gratitude. Don't bite anybody's hand. Do you know what I'm saying to you? If someone doesn't want to help you, you're obligated to. Do you know what I mean? So just either quit making films and get a job, or just crack on.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I think there's too much complaining these days. You know, people, so many, there's too much expectation. Like, expect nothing from nobody. I'm so sorry, man. No one knows you anything in this life, man. So, get up, make some stuff, man. Just keep making it. You know what I'm saying? So you keep learning, keep making, be happy while you're doing it.
Yeah.
If it makes you unhappy, stop and come back when you're happy again.
That's some solid advice. So I've got one more question for you. It's probably the most important question I've ever asked you. Why do you love Beat Street so much?
Why do I love Beat Street so much? It's giving back, man. It's a community. You get what I'm saying to you? It stands for what I stand for, right? Which is, so this is the saying that I've got. It might make sense, might not, but it says, God will bless a tap, not a reservoir. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Because a tap is flow. God believes in flow. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I'll give all this person all this resource and knowledge because I know it's going elsewhere. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? I'm not going to put it in this bucket. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Because then eventually water itself expires, everything expires. You know what I'm saying? But flow is great. So I love the fact that Beat Street is about giving back, it's about flowing, it's about community, it's about bringing people together to see what's possible, man. Do you know what I'm saying to you? And share some gems you just wouldn't get anywhere else.
I'm going to steal that.
Good. Free of charge, yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing as always.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming and having a chat with us. Really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. Boom. Put it there. How did I do, guys? Was I talking nonsense?